Hello, my name is James Hughes, Chief Market Analyst here at GKFX. Thank you very much for your questions yet again. We will run through a couple of them and answer as many as we possibly can in this video. Please keep your questions coming in. It's great to get these questions. The more you send in, the more we will be able to answer. So let's get going. The first question coming in is about gold. Now, obviously, gold prices have seen quite a big swing recently. There's been a lot of discussion points around exactly where's gold's going and why it's going in that direction. But the question comes in saying, gold has been quite strong recently. Do you think the new objectives come soon? Now, I think the big talking point around gold has been the US dollar, and of course, like very many other things, it's been the discussions from Donald Trump out of the White House, the headlines coming out of the White House, which have really been the dominating force behind the movements in gold. It became very unpopular to talk about gold as the safe haven that it always used to be. For years and years, we always used to talk about gold being the safe haven. Whenever there was uncertainty within the markets, we would always see the safe money go into gold. That's why it would always rally. But it hasn't been that way for quite a long time. However, that's what we are seeing now. We are seeing that safe haven aspect of gold come back into the markets. So with the situation the way it is at the moment, I think the more uncertainty we get from the White House, and of course that Donald Trump is making things incredibly uncertain in the US at the moment, not necessarily through his own making, just the way the markets are reacting. With that continuing, it's likely to see gold fluctuate quite a lot. Now, if we see the way it's been performing as of late, it's been very much pegged to the US dollar. The US dollar has been, whenever it's been strong, we've seen gold fall, and vice versa. We've seen the other move when the US dollar has been weak, gold has been pushing higher. We're starting to see that now drift apart, and we are seeing strength in the gold markets moving through particular highs. Now, the key area that we've been looking for have been both on a weekly and on a daily chart, where on the weekly chart we broke above the 50-week moving average, and on the daily chart we broke above the 200-day moving average. Both of those are incredibly important psychological resistance levels on the upside, and the fact that we've broken through them would be positive news for gold markets moving to the upside. A second question comes in is actually about the UK. It's about cable, sterling versus the US dollar. As far as we know, cable has fallen over 100 pip, caused by headlines. This was sent in on Friday. Now that Scotland will hold, potentially Scotland talking about a further referendum. What's your opinion about the current situation and how it will affect cable, sterling versus the US dollar? Well, Brexit is a very interesting topic of conversation, isn't it? Of course. And the big discussion point around Scotland and Brexit has always been the case that no one constituency within Scotland voted for Brexit. Every single constituency, every single area within Scotland voted to remain within the EU. However, because of the UK voting to leave as a whole, it means that Scotland must leave the European Union with the UK. Now, this has obviously prompted yet more discussions around a second independence referendum in Scotland. The first independence referendum came in unanimously that the people voted to stay within the Scottish people voted to stay within the UK. But such is the movement, and the fact that no one in Scotland voted for Brexit now means that Nicola Sturgeon, the head of the SNP, she wants another referendum. She wants to be able to boost this, to boost her popularity and get another referendum there in Scotland. Will it happen? Personally, I don't think it will happen. I don't think there will be another referendum. At the time of the first one, the Prime Minister told us that it was a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. And Theresa May, the current Prime Minister, she is very much in the same camp as that. Now, what does that mean for cable? I think it's a stabilising effect for the pound. And that's the point that we would take from that. I think the less uncertainty that we get around the Brexit headlines, around Scotland, around the independence referendum and anything that comes around Brexit, the more certainty we get, the better we are. It's the uncertainty which dragged the pound lower. We saw that just before Theresa May's speech. Before that, we'd seen such a lot of negativity. We'd seen the pound fall aggressively. However, as soon as she clarified some of those points, we saw the pound start to rally. And that's been the case ever since. Any kind of news which gives us more information is met by a very positive move. Now, if the Prime Minister is telling Scotland that there will not be another referendum, then that would be positive news for the pound. That would make things more certain. It would cause less uncertainty, and it would leave things more positive in terms of cable. However, if Nicola Sturgeon for the SNP is to push for this referendum and continue to make life difficult for the Prime Minister, which is a very real possibility, then it could be that is more negative for the pound. So watch out for those headlines. It's either no referendum on Scotland is positive news, but if we do get a referendum, that's more negative news because it causes more uncertainty. Thank you, as I said, thank you very much for your questions. Please keep sending your questions through, and next week we will do another video for you and answer more questions. So please send as many questions in as you can. Thank you very much for watching.